Every football fan knows about Derrick Henry's ability to plow through the NFL defenses and fill up stat sheets. But there's more to one of the best running backs in the game's history. Here are 10 things you didn't know about Derrick Henry. He was raised by his grandmother. The star running back was raised by his grandmother, Gladys Henry. Growing up, the two did everything together. We had a special relationship. I couldn't do anything without her, and she couldn't do anything without me, said Henry. Henry's mother and father were 15 and 16, respectively, when they had him. And while his father was in and out of prison, his mother was working constantly to make ends meet. So it all fell on Gladys's shoulders to provide for Derrick. She even nicknamed him Shaka, as his birth shocked the entire family, given his parents' young ages. However, the work ethic she demonstrated to raise him rubbed off on the running back and inspired him greatly. Just watching her get up when she didn't want to. She worked at the Holiday Inn cleaning the hotels, so we had food on our table, clothes on our back, and a roof over our head. That's what I will always remember. It's what she instilled in me. Always work hard, said Henry. He's the greatest high school running back ever. At Yulee High School in Yulee, Florida, Henry put together arguably the best high school football career of all time. His numbers there are almost unbelievable, and it's hard to imagine anyone ever topping them. 2,465 rushing yards and 26 touchdowns as a freshman, 2,788 rushing yards and 38 touchdowns as a sophomore, 2,610 rushing yards and 34 touchdowns as a junior, and 4,260 rushing yards and 55 touchdowns as a senior. Holy smokes. That adds up to a total of 12,124 rushing yards and 150 touchdowns over his high school career. Henry broke the national high school football career rushing record that had stood for over 50 years from 1953. In his 45 high school games, Henry never ran for less than 100 yards and averaged 327.8 rushing yards per game. For one more layer of context, Henry ran for more yards in his senior season alone than Ezekiel Elliott did in his entire high school career. He was a three-sport athlete in high school. Henry didn't only dominate on the football field at Yulee, as he also played basketball and ran track there. As a member of the track team, Henry specialized as a sprinter. He posted a personal best time of 11.11 seconds in the 100-meter dash at the district championships, where he placed 7th. He was also a member of the 4x100 and 4x400 teams at Yulee. In terms of basketball, I can't imagine that it was fun trying to slow down Henry running the fast break or taking a charge from him. He also had to be just an absolute beast in the paint. His mother talked him out of transferring from Alabama. While most people think of or know about Henry's dominance at Alabama, it was not always smooth sailing for the running back in Tuscaloosa. As a freshman for the Crimson Tide, Henry was listed 4th on the depth chart and only totaled 28 carries that season. Henry expressed to his mom that he was unhappy and considered transferring, so his mom calmed him down and ended up calling Nick Saban and telling him about Derrick's unhappiness. The coaching staff was apparently unaware of Derrick's displeasure, and Saban let him know that he was going to be the backup running back in their upcoming Sugar Bowl game against Oklahoma. Henry made the most of the opportunity and had 161 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns in the game. He won the national championship and the Heisman Trophy in the same year. Things worked out pretty well for Henry and Alabama after his mom talked him out of transferring. In his junior season, Henry won the nation's most prestigious individual award in the Heisman Trophy, and his team won the national championship game. He scored in every game he played in that year, led the nation in rushing yards and touchdowns with 1,986 and 23. Henry helped Alabama to a 12-1 record and a spot in the college football playoff as the number 2 seed. The Tide beat Michigan State 38-0 in the semifinals before beating Clemson 45-40 in the title game. Henry scored 5 touchdowns in those 2 games. He's tied for the longest touchdown run in NFL history. In a 2018 Week 14 Thursday Night Football matchup with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Henry tied the record for the longest touchdown run in NFL history with a 99-yard run in the second quarter. He tied Tony Dorsett's record that had stood alone for 36 years. Henry's run was not only impressive in terms of length, he scored as the result of insane strength and athleticism. Henry broke through the line of scrimmage, then gave cornerback A.J. Boye a vicious stiff arm, before just tossing aside another linebacker Leon Jacobs like a ragdoll, and finally outrunning linebacker Miles Jack for the touchdown. He just had a daughter with his longtime girlfriend. Henry has been dating Adriana Rivas since 2016, and the couple welcomed their daughter Valentina to the world in May of 2020. After having his first kid, Henry shared he was getting less sleep than before, and when he was not holding onto his daughter or feeding her, he was chilling or working out. Rivas was actually a Dallas Cowboys fan before she started dating Henry. She went to the University of Texas and has her own business, Attraction by Adriana, which provides eyelash extension services. His nickname is Tractor Soto. Every star athlete needs a cool nickname, and Henry received his during the Sugar Bowl against Oklahoma during his freshman season mentioned earlier. Henry gashed the Sooner defense for a 61-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter, and Pablo Villanueva called him Tractor Soto on the game's ESPN Deportes broadcast. The internet caught wind of the nickname, ran with it, and it stuck. Villanueva called him the El Tractor Soto, which translates to the little tractor. It's a nod to Henry's next-level strength and motor. Every time he got the ball, he was pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. He's already broken a lot of Titans franchise records. Even though Henry is in just his fifth season with the organization, the running back already holds a handful of Titans franchise records. In a 2018 game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Henry set the record for most rushing yards in a game with 238. Tied another for most rushing touchdowns in a game with 4, and had the longest rushing play with that 99-yard scamper. He also holds the record for most rushing yards in back-to-back games with 408, and is tied for most games with at least 2 touchdowns in a season with 6. Henry's records extend to postseason play too, as he holds the franchise record for most rushing yards in a postseason game with 195. Against the Baltimore Ravens in their upset over them in the 2019 divisional round. His 204 scrimmage yards in that game also set a franchise record for most in a postseason game. He also has the most 100-plus rushing yard postseason games, with 3 of those. Had an insane draft combine. Going into the draft combine, everybody knew how massive Henry was, but he was about to show them how he was more of an athletic freak than anyone even realized. Henry's 37-inch vertical leap and 130-inch broad jump were 5th and 2nd best respectively out of all running backs. Pretty impressive for a back who measured in at 6'3", 247 pounds. And then, he ran a 4.54 40-yard dash, which may not be an eye-popping number until you consider his size. A guy that big shouldn't be able to move that fast. Despite being the heaviest running back at the combine, Henry showed he was just as athletic as everybody else. He provided a unique combination of size, strength, speed, and overall athleticism. So, there it is, 10 things you didn't know about Derrick Henry. What's your favorite Derrick Henry moment? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and go ahead and turn on those post notifications. As always, this has been another Nonstop Sports Banger. We'll catch you next time.